Essay.
How you going, Steve-O?
Little bit late. What happened?
Mate, what do you mean what happened? Nothing's happened. Just slept in.
Slept in on. Yeah. It's a little bit smaller, man. What's technology, right? Where's our one?
A bit of technical difficulties, mate.
Technical difficulties. Oh shit!
Some bright spark told me to just restart your computer. Might fix it.
the old Microsoft updates coming through exactly when you need them.
I know.
Yeah,
so it's playing a bit glitchy. So how you been, mate? How's the week been?
Oh, mate, it's been good. Been busy. Flat out. But that's all cool. It was good after our catch up last week, and then on Monday got a little bit of feedback coming through from a few peeps.
Yeah.
I suppose there were two key things, or probably three things. One of them was how long and how silver is my hair.
Yeah.
And then there is does Claude dye his hair?
I'm getting greys, I see.
You can't see it.
Yeah,
I've got one or two. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed.
Yeah. And another one was an interesting one was around. We keep having this conversation about the World Roller Games and the qualification process. And Jorge said something. Sorry, let me just go through here. Then so I
you got a bit of info.
He got contacted from someone who's pretty close to knowing. And they suggested nothing's been formalised yet.
Okay. Right. So I told you. I mean, Jorge did hear something from someone that might not. There might be word of it, but it could be a bit of Chinese whispers.
Yeah. No, someone who's let's call it someone that should know. Someone that should know because it's sort of their job to know. Said nothing's formalised yet. So anyway, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Cool.
Other than that, some good likes, some good coverage. Got the episode 1 up on YouTube. So that's good.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah. So what are we chatting about tonight? Who we got?
Well, we're off to New Zealand, mate. We've got Russel Clarke. I was actually a bit excited, man. I thought we had Russell Crowe for a minute, but it's Russel Clarke. Yeah.
Good old Russ. Yeah. Russ, good friend of Australia. Well,
mate, I reckon we just get the jet out, SA.
The jet?
Yeah. Get the plane out of the shed. Let's jump on it.
The old RHA jet.
Has that been serviced or what?
Well, mate, let's get the RHA jet out. How about we fly over there? We'll take our studios over there and we'll go pick him up.
Let's do it.
Hey, Claude, man, you sure this thing's been serviced?
I don't know, SA. Listen, I gotta get to the toilet. How long is this flight?
Oh, mate, where we go? I hope we're going to Auckland. We're going to Wellington. Who's flying this thing?
I know, it's a bit noisy. It's doing like a dive.
Oh, God.
Are we there yet?
There you go.
Us!
There we are. That's not Russ.
That's Russ. Russ. We got him.
How you going?
How you going, guys?
Nice of you to be at the airport waiting for us.
Well, I'm just doing some technical stuff here. I'm very clever.
Yeah, no problem, mate. No problem. Don't worry. We had a few of those on our side as well.
There you go. You're done.
Right.
How's it all going?
Good, mate.
Yeah, good, buddy.
Good. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm pretty good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Had a couple of gooskies and a couple of tequilas.
Oh, nice.
We've been locked down for a little while, so we got back to work on Wednesday. So it's like the last 3 days have been absolutely manic, So yeah,
really?
Yeah. What about yourselves?
Well, I mean, we've been in lockdown. How many days, Claude? It's lost count. It's been like months and months and months, right?
Yeah.
Off on a bit, but it's been full on, mate. At least in Victoria.
Yeah.
We've had it pretty good, so we can't complain. The rest of New Zealand's in what they call level 2. So Auckland, I'm in Auckland, and we're level 3, so we're a bit more restricted. But hey, it is what it is. But we're getting there.
Yeah, that's good, mate.
No roll hockey, of course. No tournaments and no training.
Yeah.
No, mate. Well, we saw that you had a competition, I think, planned. Was it for the last week? Was it in nationals?
Yeah, so it was our national championships, which was going to be at our home rink actually, up in Auckland. And so obviously we couldn't run that. So we decided that we'd run the Papatoe itself, or the Auckland rink. Auckland now used to be, I'm used to calling it Papatoe. So we don't actually have any juniors or ladies, unfortunately. So we thought, we made the decision, well, let's have the national champs down in Wanganui, because at least we can still hold the nationals for the juniors and the ladies, which at least gets that something underway and gives them a little bit of hope. But unfortunately, we've just had to pull the pin on that as well, because it can only be done at level 1, because you're limited to 100 people. So it doesn't look like we're going to get much roll hockey in this year, which is a real shame,
Yeah. Cool.
In the COVID side of things, before we continue with hockey, I mean, are there many cases? Have you guys got many cases or not?
I think today we've dropped down to 9 in Auckland today from memory. There was like 1,000 cases or something. I'm just trying to remember. I don't get too involved with it actually, but and there's like 800 people recovered now.
Oh, okay.
There was like 9 Delta cases. We've had no deaths for a long time. A few weeks ago we had one 90-year-old woman had passed away, but as far as I'm aware, we're pretty good on that. But there's other impacts, There's other impacts, not just the actual COVID. It's a business, and I guess suicide rates and all those sort of things, that impact, But which is crazy.
Yeah.
No, we're sort of in we've got very, I suppose, extreme conditions over here in some cases. Some people haven't worked for months and months and months, and others are flat out, and others, it's quite crazy. But anyway, mate, that's all we talk about over here. You're probably the same over there. Let's talk about hockey, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about
hockey, mate.
We can't play it.
Yeah, I know. But mate, we're really keen. Australia, New Zealand. We're sort of, we're joined at the hip when it comes to what's important in relation to the growth of hockey, right? So although we've had a couple of slow years, whatever it is, but we are really keen to understand what's happening in New Zealand. I suppose from our point of view, mate, I know there's been a couple of changes and you've taken on a new role, but there's also, a bit of a background what's happening over there. Can you give us any insights into that?
Yeah, so it's we're struggling a little bit. We're probably where you guys were 6 or 7 years ago. You're from memory. You guys are in a bit of a hole. We're sort of in that hole, but we've got a lot of younger players playing. We've got a lot more juniors now, but we really struggle. We've probably only got 2 dedicated roller skating rinks. We've got a rink in New Plymouth, which is really good. They've got the inline rink and the roller hockey rink next to it, and we've got Wanganui, which is a very small rink that you can't really have any tournaments at. And all the other rinks, like we're a bit like Stafford, their rink, they lost their rink. Papatoe, as you know, you've been there before, and that got bowled down. So we lost the rink, and that's affected our club hugely, So my own club, Papatoe, Auckland, we're playing on the North Shore. We have no juniors. We train on 8 o'clock on a Thursday night for a couple of hours, and very hard to get juniors and young kids out at 8 o'clock at night on the North Shore. So that's a struggle. We've just managed another training this year down at Mount Wellington. You would have known the old Mount Wellington rink.
Oh, yeah. Been there a lot of times.
So we're playing twice a week, which is cool. But once again, it's like 8:30 at night to 10 o'clock. So, we're struggling for rinks. We only really have 5 clubs in the country. We've only got 5 clubs. We've got one on the South Island in Motueka, which is awesome. And then we have a few, the guys from Wellington. That club's gone now, and they were, they came over to your Showlands Day Cup and did well, and I think they won it actually from memory.
They did, absolutely.
Strong international players. That club's not there anymore. So is
that venue gone? Is that venue gone, or is it still there?
No, it's still there. The venue's still there. In fact, we're planning on having a tournament there next year, actually. I just saw that on the board. Yeah. But it's just one of those things. It's just that whole, it's like being at the bottom of the world. That's why Australia roller hockey for us and New Zealand is so important for us.
Yeah.
Because, to go anywhere in the world, you got to travel a mile, and coming for you guys coming to us going to you, it's pretty amazing. I see sometimes on my Facebook posts, I see some of the guys up there talking about, guys like Des Rinke and Keith and, Peter Luffy and Simo and all those sort of guys. I'm sitting there, which is pretty cool. And it's really easy for old fellas like us two to go, oh, back in my day, but we're not in that day.
I know. I mean, it's I thought it's my mind goes to New Zealand's got 5 clubs. Australia's sort of fluctuating between 8 and 10, depending on whatever. But together we have, let's call it 15, and I think we've got to continue to think like that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That you're an extension of Australia. Australia's an extension of New Zealand, and we've just got to work out ways of bringing 80% of those clubs together on an annual basis. And if we did that, then we're going to get 10 clubs, right, together, or 8 clubs together on an annual basis.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of coaching. Well, I coach the New Zealand women's team now, which is awesome.
Yeah, I want to hear more about that too.
I'm actually unbeaten as a New Zealand coach for the women. Yeah, I'm actually unbeaten. Yeah, the New Zealand women's team under my wing, under my command, have never lost the game. We haven't actually played one yet. But,
well, there you go, mate.
I was waiting where this is going to.
But I always take the positive about everything, So but the good thing with our team is we haven't got many women, but we're actually building from a year or two ago. We've got a lot more, and it's good. And some of our ladies are older, but it doesn't matter. It's all about those numbers and playing and getting those numbers up.
So how long have you been doing the coaching with the ladies?
Probably about a year now, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. We started off. I think they went to Australia a number of years ago, and after that we had a change of coach. And obviously myself, Chick, stepped in, and we've got a really good culture with the girls. And it's really cool. We've got a lot of younger ones through there. We've had a couple of New Zealand trainings, and in fact, the last training we had the New Zealand under 17 young guys join us, and it was really cool. And a lot of their parents were there. It was
nice.
Really interesting. And I gave them, it's really hard to, well, not hard, but gave them a bit of a spiel about my history in roller hockey. And it's really hard to look like this old dude standing up with this big ego talking about all the stuff you've done, but it's really important.
Wouldn't have been that hard, let's be honest.
No, it was easy for me, but because a lot of people don't know that. I was really fortunate to play for New Zealand in 1984 in Paris at the first World B Group games, which was really disappointing, to be honest with you. For me to go to the World B Group games was so disappointing. Although I was representing New Zealand, I didn't see the top 10 teams in the world. I saw from 10 down. All the talk for years about Portugal, Spain, Italy, and Argentina, and all those teams, not to see them, and that was disappointing for me as a young guy. So I really reckon we should all be together still again. But we'll talk about that later. But I think, and just I was lucky enough. I played in England and I played professionally in Italy as well, which was cool. But just to tell some of those young guys, this is what you actually can do, whether you're from New Zealand or Australia. There's nothing stopping you doing your OE, going to a Spanish club or
Now we want to get a little bit to that, Russ. We want to get to that in a second, but we just want to round out a couple of things. So he's talked about what's happening with the ladies, which you've been coaching them for about a year now and doing some squad trainings. What's happening with the juniors and the senior men's?
The senior men's.
Yeah, so the senior men's have had some trainings. It's varied. I was just talking to Ali, who's the coach tonight. Actually, he said, "Hey, what's your views on it?" And we've once again, it's the hardest thing for New Zealand, or I suppose for you guys, there's nothing at this stage to play for.
Yeah.
Because you can go to all these trainings and it costs you a lot of money to go around the country and train all that. But, because of COVID, what is actually happening? I guess nothing next year and possibly the 2020 Argentina, 22, sorry. Yeah. But that's the hardest thing is actually, for us in New Zealand, when we might have a tournament every 5 or 6 weeks, but you're traveling somewhere, it's costing you a fortune to travel. Put training or New Zealand squad training in between that as well. It's the cost, and most of our young guys are probably in their I know, 26, 27, 25 years old, they've probably been to 1 or 2 or 3 world champs or Asian champs. So they're age now that, wow, they're spending all their money, they're looking at buying a house, and it's really that catch-22. And then you've got the young guys coming up. But once again, lack of international playing, lack of playing you guys, lack of Australasian club champs. There's quite a big separation. There's quite a big step apart from it. So I know in New Zealand, I know we're struggling with that a bit at the moment. And we've got 4 or 5 senior men's teams, and and you play the same people. You know the goalies, you know the players. And we all have that. But they're coming from strength to strength. They've got a lot of young guys coming up. The next 2 years, the New Zealand team today compared to what will be in 2 years' time will be totally different.
It's good though. You guys are doing some stuff there, and you're moving forward as we're trying to here. And so what's plans for 2022? Assuming the world is open, and I'm a bit of an optimist. I have a sense that that 2022 is going to be a year of travel's going to happen again. There's going to be some conditions and some restrictions around it. But what's New Zealand aiming for? Are they aiming for the World Roller Games, and you guys are thinking about that, talking about that?
Well, me as the women's coach, absolutely. I'd love to take the girls over to play overseas. And I know Ali with the guys as well. And I'd love to see you guys in New Zealand, whether it's a club side or a national side or just a squad, because we want to be, and I think that's the thing. And a lot of people, and especially young people in the sport, haven't seen international. Or not even, it doesn't have to be an international Australian team as such. It's just international players or other players to play against. And that totally. So that would be really cool. But we're all looking for, when the borders open, when we can play you guys, when you can come here, we can go there. Or ideally that, I'd love to be able to go to Argentina in 2022. What would be hard for us is if they made us qualify and have to have 2 or 3 trips to get there.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Russell? I mean, have you guys heard anything, or did you have any news regarding that, or?
No, we've heard nothing, but I would really not like that, personally, because most of us can afford 2 trips. Most of the girls and young guys. I'd just love the fact to be able to go over to Argentina, and see all the top teams in the world. I love the fact if they had to have a B group, have that for 3 or 4 days, but play 2 games a day. You watch the Olympics, and some of these guys, I know our gold medal Olympian, Kanua, she's racing for 3 or 4 Olympic medals in 2 or 3 days. Why not? Your strength of your squad's going to have to be deeper, and just go and cram some hockey in and be able to go there in one hit and see the top guys in the world as well as us guys play, or and that's what I like to see, because it's a good thing playing, but I've always said, hey, you go and play, but imagine when you watch, you watch those top guys, it's freaking awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So
because with that, I mean, with the Argentina side of things, not having to qualify, I believe it might be it's always a possibility. But in the past, if you don't go to the Asian Games or the Asian qualifiers, you can still go to the World Roller Games or the World Skate Games that they're called now. But you just play on the lower groups.
Yeah, no disrespect to our team and our girls, but we're going to be in the lower groups. As simple as that. We are going to be. We know that for a fact. And that's just how it is. And we'll be trying to butt off to try and push up, but at the moment we're at the lower echelon of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We've got to start somewhere. But like you say, we had those Asian qualifiers last time when you guys won it, and that was pretty cool. And our guys are there as well. And our guys weren't there, were they? Yeah.
In
and you guys
South Korea.
Yeah, that's right. And it was awesome. But, it was hard because the players that go there aren't always the players that go the following 12 months.
Yeah, no.
It is hard. Yeah. It is hard. And it's going to be hard if those 2 competitions happen in the same year. If it's mandatory to go to an Asian qualification and then go to a World Roller Games, that's like, as you said, it's going to be so tough to do that. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from a world skate perspective in relation to that, because our countries can't afford that.
Yeah. No, we can't afford it, and we've all been hit with COVID and all that sort of stuff. And it's just it's tough for everybody, and even just you guys, trying to make a living, and you're and same with ourselves. You're locked down, so your company's you're locked down, so our finances are lower than they were ever before. I guess.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, Russ, I want to go back to you being a coach, right? Sorry. Before I get that, I want to go back to you being a player. Like you said, people that are in their youth don't really know who we are. But tonight's about you. But so, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Oh, mate, I was always a bloody fairest player out there. I was a player. I was lucky with a really good opportunity. I had some really good players around me, and like you say, I went to my first World Championships when I was 17. And I just lived and breathed roller hockey. That's all I did. That's all I did. I just freaking trained. I had good people around me. Went to everything, But I played against you, and I was, if it was a 60-40 ball and you had the 60, I had the 40, I'd still go for it.
I know.
No, we remember.
Yes, we remember big time.
No, yeah. I mean, it was always
we're on the end of those 40s a few times.
Hence I got knee surgery in 3 weeks. I had my ankle done. I've got shoulder stuff coming up. But end of the day is that, I was. It's like if it's in a war, man. I'm firing the bullets. I don't want to hold the shield. I want to fire the bullets. And I probably do life like that. But I was always a person firing the bullets, as you know. Previously competitive, but really fair. But to me, it was always the game's over. You shake, win, draw, or lose. You shake their hand, and me, I've always partied good and had a beer and enjoyed everyone's company. But I think as a player, I give it absolutely 100%. I never gave 110% because my girlfriend says there's no such thing. It's got to be 100 or nothing. So I always gave it 100. I always gave it 100%, as you know. But I always loved it. I really did. I
think it's fair to say that's how we define you as
Remember
well.
It?
Really strong player, really hard, and and aggressive out there, but with respect. But at the end of the game, it was like, man, I gotta be honest. There's a few times in a few games like, oh man, this guy's crazy. He's just buried us into the wall. And then at the end of the game, it's like, hey man, we got out for a beer. What's going on? How's it going? Whatever. I was like, this guy's got like two personalities,
Yeah. But that's how it was, hey. That's what we did. And it was just to take your heart out. And once again, we were all the same. Hey, sure, we had the old fight and stuff, but it was always
Australia, New Zealand just has that competitive thing. But
what I liked about Australia, New Zealand was we were hard ass.
Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, when we battled Australia, New Zealand.
Say again.
So when we battled Australia, New Zealand, what I loved about Australia, New Zealand, when we played each other, it was freaking hard. But off the rink at the World Champs, we all supported each other.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed supporting you guys when you went to the World Champs as our little down under.
Exactly right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is that we're always one when we're traveling,
Yeah, and that was always nice. And I've got some great memories of playing you guys, and it's just thinking of the memories. Renee, I remember him. Last time I saw him, I seen him was dancing on a bar and somewhere, and the police got him down because he was singing La Bamba all night. So
So what's been your favourite World Champs then? What would you said 94 in Paris, and then you're in World Roller Games in 2017.
I must admit,
what are you, 6, 7, 8, 9? How many World Championships did you go to?
I can't remember, but the last one was sort of bittersweet for me. The last one in 2017, to be honest with you, was bittersweet. So here I am. I'm over 50 years old. I'm playing for New Zealand. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But also it's absolutely wrong as well, because it just shows our lack of depth and of lack of our sport. So that was amazing. But the most amazing thing was that I got to play with my New Zealand shirt on, sitting in the national anthem next to my son.
Yeah.
So with Nathan, and you talk about me being aggressive. Nathan's pretty quiet, eh? So but he just loves his role there, and that's probably the most proudest honour a parent can have, playing for your country, singing the national anthem with the silver fern, standing next to your son. So that was very special for me. But and honestly, I was past it by then. When you're a young fella and you go to World Champs or to play high sport, when it's crunch comes to crunch, you can always go up a level. But when you get to my age or our age, that's the level. And although you want to, you're just at that level. You can't go any more than you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got injured really bad in China though, didn't you? What did you do? You did something. Was it your shoulder or?
I broke a few ribs playing you guys actually. So
there you go.
Yeah. There
Did
you go.
see
There's
that
a photo,
photo, Russ?
yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? So and then that was a pretty cool moment. And then my team did the haka for me. That was pretty amazing. So it was pretty cool. And I had a time in Italy playing professionally in Pescara in my youth. And that was pretty wonderful. Just playing roll hockey for a job. And I was pretty fortunate.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about that. Now,
how long were you there?
I was there for about 6 or 7 months, and we lost the championship because we played on an outdoor rink, and if it rained, we lost the points, which is disappointing. But I just go to the rink every day, play hockey, go to the gym, ride around my little motorbike, have cappuccinos, speak a bit of Italiano. And that's where I've got the Rusty's pizza shirt. That's where I learned to make all the pizzas, you see. So, everyone's been giving me heaps on Facebook about my cooking of my pizzas. So yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. But,
now we found a little bit of a comment on your player profile saying that one of the best teams you played against was an Italian team whilst you're playing for England.
National team.
Yeah, the national side. So we went to a place in Germany. Yeah, so I've got patriality. My mother was born in Bath in England.
Oh yeah. It's the top end of town, mate. Down there, I know that area.
Yeah, you do. Watto. So
what? You played for England. So hang on, just to clarify, you've played for England.
Yeah. I played for England. The England
seniors.
National side. Sheepers. Who was in the? Joe
Is that
Wheatley.
allowed? Was that have an England New Zealand thing played? Is that
I
allowed?
don't know. I mean, there's a few Trans-Tasmans there. They're in question now. All these Trans-Tasmans.
Those New Zealand games that we played, that could have been like an English guy in the team. We better go back to the record books.
But
wait a second, Russell. Wait a second. Was that juniors or was that in seniors when you played for?
No, seniors. So when I was about 19, I went from New Zealand to Italy. I went from Italy to England, and I played in England for probably 3 or 4 years. So that was pretty cool. I played for North London roll hockey. In fact, I'm really good mates with all the guys now.
Right.
And I was pretty good. I was okay. So I got asked to play in the New Zealand the English side because they found out that my mother was English and I had patriality, so I could play.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
So we jumped in the old this old Bedford van from, I think it was some old van, and we went off to Germany and played the European Cup.
Really?
Yeah. We actually got third. We beat Germany, and Italy won it. Is it Stuart Dawes? Not Stuart Dawes. Doherty, one of the English captain for years, and Joe Wheatley and a few others.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. I saw him in Germany, in China actually. But a whole lot of guys, and we went over there and played. It was a really cool experience, And,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that was the first time ever I got to play Italy and Portugal there and all those guys.
Oh yeah, 19.
That's
great, mate. Extremely lucky.
All my world championships being B group, we never got to play them, so it was pretty special. Yeah.
Hey, coincidentally, and I'm not lying. 3 minutes before we started the broadcast, I got a message. Someone's trying to contact you from the London Roller Hockey Club. His name's Nick Bartlett.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nick Bartlett. I'm immigrating to New Zealand next month. I'm keen to keep up with hockey. We're moving to Wellington. I'm interested in speaking with Russel Clarke. Can you send me his details? So there you go. That was literally just before you joined.
Something like that could spark off the Wellington club again. It doesn't take much, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And one person can move mountains, right? One person can get a league going, get a game going, get a whatever going, right? Imagine if you've got 2 or 3 or 4 people like that, and all of a sudden you've got a hell of a lot of stuff going.
Oh,
so
awesome.
it's
Stephen, wait a second. Did you say a Nick Bartlett? Yeah, he's on. He's watching. He's watching. So he said not Wellington, Hamilton.
Okay, sorry.
Well, that's better for my team.
So he's watching us, Russ. So
yeah. So Nick wants to get in contact with you, mate.
Okay. Oh, excellent, Nick. You do that. You just message me on Facebook. If you're going to be in Hamilton, you're going to probably have to have 6 fingers on each hand.
Why is that?
What is that?
Hamilton. It's Hamilton. It's like Tasmania, I guess. So yeah.
All right, they're a little bit different there, are they?
No, good.
It's like Tasmania.
That's really good. That's awesome. Yeah,
now you've spoken about you. Now you're the ladies coach, right? So being a national coach is hard, right? Because you've got to be honest in your assessment of where they're at. And that you said, you guys, we're starting. We're going to be in the the third group or whatever group they end up having. But what's your thinking in relation to coaching, right? What are you going to try to bring to that team, or the team?
It's really hard at the moment because I'm the coach of the New Zealand team. There's no one to coach, or there's a coach, but there's no one to play, and that's been the hardest thing. So when they play at the tournaments, they've got their own coach and they're playing locally. But internationally, we've had no one to play for a year and maybe next year or whatever. So that's been the hardest thing is to get their motivation up.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest thing. And I've got a range of girls from 16 to over 50, and more. So the hardest thing for us is this massive age range, and and it's really just the communication. Some of them can skate really well, some of them not so good. It's just being honest with all of them about what they need to improve on, and it's up to them now, the individuals, to do it. But I was really fortunate. I'm a great believer in team culture, and I had a catch up at a seminar with a guy named Gilbert Inoka, who's actually the All Blacks manager, and he's been a manager for the All Blacks for over 20 years.
Oh,
and
okay.
And he's a really interesting guy, and his life story and all he had the different coaches through the All Blacks and the World Cups and all those sort of things. And a couple of things stood out to me. And number one was culture is more important than tactics, is more important than process. So it's your team, your culture is the key thing. And I know the All Blacks have a great culture. I know now, even with the short time that the New Zealand Rene coach has been coaching the Aussie team, the culture has changed already, and they're getting some results. So culture is key for me. And so I really work on the culture a lot. So I'm not really the coach. I'm more of a motivator than a coach.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You make a really interesting point, which I can identify with, which is around that motivating, because you go through these cycles where you got to get people involved, and then they start to play, and then they get performed, and then you get assessed on their performance. Now, you're still at that very early stages where I just want people to turn up to train, and then once they train, then I want them to actually train off skates and get fitter, but just to keep them motivated to do that is just hard. It's just really, really hard, mate. So I take my hat off to you, and I hope you're getting the help from others as well, right? Because that's what you need, right? There's so many people to help that. Yeah,
I've always been really good at motivating. My first stint at coaching was probably my most proudest stint of coaching ever. And I got roped in for my ex-wife to coach my son's soccer team, and they were 5 years old.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we played 78 games, never lost, and we changed the goalie every time. So my proudest moment, and my hardest game was the 50th game. We had all the newspapers down there and the radio, and it's like, whoa,
really?
Are you serious?
Yeah, these 5-year-old kids and up to 9-year-olds.
Under 6s.
So we played 78 games, and we never lost a game. But it was just that motivation. They all started motivating each other, and it wasn't me. I'm not a soccer coach, But that's the thing, and it's getting that culture, getting that team right, and playing for each other, and you can do that at any grade, at any age.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
And I think that's probably what I bring to it. I guess is just my passion for most things. And technically, I'm pretty average, to be honest. But because man, just rip shit and dust and just go for it. I want to get a goal, and I even still like getting a goal at training.
Yeah. So, but Russ, you finished you completed the World Skate coaching accreditation recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd you find that?
I heard you did it twice.
Yeah, well, we did the referees one too, didn't we?
So Russell and I were doing the we're doing the online World Skate coaching course, right? And they put up 2 links, and I opened one up, and I was like, that looks like the referee one. I'm not going to do that one. I'll do this other one. So I'm off doing this one. Then about 20 minutes later, Russ goes, "Hey, Stu, what's question 2? I said, yes, mate, I've been doing the referee course for the last 20 minutes.
That was hilarious. I got a credit.
Did you get a pass for that?
Yeah, I got a pass. I just took the coaching one, but yeah, it was pretty interesting, eh? But yeah, but
yeah, that was fun.
But it's just it's pretty cool. It was fun. It's nice to see that that's what they're doing. But it was hard watching all that in Spanish. The first day, there's old Stephen there, and he's going, man, it's hard to understand. How's your Spanish? But there's a little button that could translate it to English, and he's watching it in Spanish.
Were you?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
What's going on? I was like, thank God I can understand a little bit. But it was just like, oh, yeah. Then Russell and I got told off by the facilitator. Can you guys please be quiet? You're not meant to be talking through the exam.
But Russell, I mean, Steve sort of touched on it, and hopefully he said that you're getting a bit of help. But I mean, are you surrounding yourself? I mean, is anybody putting their hand up to give you a hand with the ladies? Or is anybody helping with the juniors or the seniors?
So the juniors are going really good. We've got one of the young guys, one of the coaches down in Wanganui. He's got all these young juniors, and he's doing a whole lot of training sessions. Dave Dench, he's doing wonderful, and got barbecues and all that. Keep them together. At the New Zealand, at the men's or the ladies training, I had the young under 17s with me, and Ali from the men's training is bringing up some of the younger youth to train with them.
Yeah,
which is cool. And it's just that whole family thing. Like my sons. I talked about that soccer team before. So, Caden, Caden from, young Caden and young Dean Tonkin, they played soccer, and Caden was on the team, but Dean was. Both those young fellas did the apprenticeships with me. So it's been for building. And it's just that whole together. So Rocky in New Zealand and a little bit like Australia is really a whole family thing. So we just got to branch our family out and get more people in there.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly.
But there's a whole lot of new families. There's a whole new people in it. And, so we're definitely heading in the right direction, but this COVID hasn't helped, of course.
Yeah, I know. Makes it hard, mate. Makes it hard. Now, Russ, we're always looking back on old photos and trying to check some stuff out and understand where certain people are and whatnot. But got a bit of a
Do you know what this is? I think the banner gives it away a little bit, but you know what this is?
Shit, was that England?
Yeah, the year 2000, right? So 20 plus years ago, right?
It was a shithole, eh?
Yes. In those army barracks.
The rink was pretty good. The accommodation was a bit
it was pretty cool, but we stayed in the middle of the bloody Whitwatts. So it was like 16 quid to get a taxi right into town.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. In the middle of nowhere. They were army barracks, weren't they?
Yeah, they were army barracks, weren't they?
I don't know, but we didn't have Sky TV, and the English guys did. What
was that?
Yeah.
What did they have?
They had all the flash Sky TV, the fancy places. We had little bunks, eh?
Yeah. You talking about? I think they had. Like, I think you said they had a satellite dish, didn't they?
Yeah. They did for a while until the last night. I think it got pulled off from memory.
Did it get pulled off? Right.
Not for me.
I heard they have really shitty reception though.
Yeah. There's a few players on there that I remember.
So a few of them you remember, not all of them. So Russ, that's you there, right?
That's me there, yeah.
So who's this?
It's Alistair Turner from Wellington.
Right, one of the Turner brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's he these days?
So he's not playing at all, Alistair. And Scotty on the right, that's the other Turner brother. Scotty, he lives in England now.
This one?
Okay.
No, on the right. Sorry, the second on the right. Here you go. Yep.
Oh, yeah, Scotty. Yeah. See, that's right. Did he used to have dreadlocks?
He's a rugby player.
Yes, he played. Went to England to play rugby, didn't he?
Yeah. He's in England still. John Bardo, Craig Mackey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Michael Langridge, who has he came up the other day and had a little bit. Michael, he's got, he's still sort of playing occasionally, but family man, 3 kids.
Yeah.
Who's that in the middle? I don't know who that little. Who's that? I can't see. My eyes aren't very good.
Yeah, that's isn't that one of the other.
I thought that was one of the.
Is it Mark? It's not Mark, is it?
Yeah,
Mark,
I think it's Mark. Is it guy with the big shot, the massive shot?
Oh, Mark. Is that Mark? Oh, yeah, it is Mark, looking young. Yeah. So Mark's still playing. He's playing for New Plymouth, and they won the New Zealand national champs last year, which was awesome. First time for a long time.
So right, okay. Yeah,
and you got Luke Turner's the goalie.
Which one is which though? Which?
So that's Luke there that you got the arrow on.
Yeah.
So he's the cousin of the other Turners.
Yeah.
And Mike Bates here. So Mike here, he's a good friend of mine. He's an amazing, inspirational person. So Mike sadly had a stroke when he was about 51. So basically paralyzed down one side. And honestly, he is the most amazing guy. And Shepherd, so he got himself half right. He he still played roller hockey. So his team would wheel him out, and they strapped his glove to his hand, and he couldn't. He was paralyzed down one side. He still is, and he continued playing roller hockey for a number of years. And we smashed the ball. I took a penalty against me, bloody saved it actually. we're very good mates, and he's just absolute credit to himself and his family and what he's done. He never, he'd get his bicycle and he'd tape his foot to it and he'd bike down the road, and he opened a little art studio. Just absolute great friend and just absolute legend. To just not let get that in a way, and having Mike and that his son was over in England actually, so it was really cool that he got to meet up with him at the World Champs there. Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah. It was
that's
really cool. Yeah.
If that doesn't get you, bit of perspective in life, then geez, nothing will, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
That's interesting.
But that was a good old team. Our probably best, well, not say best team, that sounds rude. Our best result was in Andorra. Macau.
91, something like that, 92.
No, that would have been Andorra. Andorra, I think, was like 93, 94.
Yeah. No, Macau was before that, and we had a really good team. We played. There was something like we played
92. Sorry.
Yeah, we lost one game out of 11.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, we did. Awesome. And we're playing for the quarterfinals to go to the A group, but unfortunately, our good mate, old Mr. Cheesecake, got.
Who's that? Who's Mr. Cheesecake?
Well, Carl Chesney. So I shouldn't blame Carl, but he got sent off in the first half. And of the semi-final, and back in those days, you weren't allowed to replace the player, so we played with 3 men the whole game, and obviously lost. We're playing Sweden, and we lost the semi-final, unfortunately. But we went to the whole world champs, lost one game.
Really? Wow.
But you said Andorra, yeah? You said Andorra. Andorra was 92.
It was Macau. Yeah.
No, Macau. That was 1990.
Yeah, 1990. Yeah. So that was
that's when Australia came third on that one, and that's how they sort of got
qualified
that
for the
spot.
Olympics.
Yeah, got that spot in the Olympics.
We beat you. at that tournament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was always pissed off actually, real big time, because we'd beaten you. Actually, we beat you 5-4 from memory, because I played in that game, and we were quite competitive then, but because of the Olympics, they wanted, because it was a bigger country. Because it was what we were told, it was a demonstration sport, obviously, and you guys had more representation, bigger country. You guys got the slot. We were like real pissed because what do you mean we beat those guys, But that was hard for you guys. You played the B group, then you got the Olympics, then you got the A group, and then you went back down to the B group. Yeah, man, it was expensive, eh? And a lot of players dropped out after that too, from what I hear and what I saw.
Yeah, it was a real transition, I suppose. Because I was one of those younger players coming through, and Claude was part of the Olympic team, but a lot of the older players just they sort of played maybe 1 year, maybe more or two. They some contributed for a bit longer, and others just faded out. So and you get that, and that's the hard part in our countries, right? You've got to make sure as much as we can that we hold on to players like yourself that stop playing, but they also contribute, right? So they go, I'm going to coach, I'm going to referee, or I'm going to bloody get the cages out, or I'm going to, run the canteen, whatever, right? Just do a little bit to help keep the sport going.
Yeah, and you usually only get a few, Rohan, and Rohan's a legend, man. He's put so much into roller hockey. I really take my hat off to him, and he goes to every World Champs. He goes to every tournament. He goes to everything in Australia. He just does so much for the sport. He just loves it, eh? And I'd hate to see where we'd be now in New Zealand if it wasn't for Rohan. That's for sure.
No, it's a good shout out, mate. Good shout out. I want to get him on. I talk to him regularly too, and get him on and have a chat to him from that perspective. Now, Russ, we're really curious. We're curious in this photo.
Yeah, where is that?
Oh, that's cool. So my son took that photo probably. He got a drone up there. So that photo there is in Hastings.
So where's Hastings in New Zealand again?
Hastings is in New Zealand, and used to be a very, very strong club. And that was the bank track around the outside. And if you look at some old footage, they actually had the world bank chap speed skating competition there. I don't know what year. There's quite a lot of footage of it. Okay. So we've been going to that tournament. It's only just started 2 years ago. So they had decided one of their guys, a guy from Hastings, and he's been playing at Auckland, a guy named Lance Pratt and a few others, got the club up and running. And it's an outdoor rink in Hastings. And they had their first tournament there about 2 years ago outside. It was bloody great, actually. Yeah. And then they had another one last year, and they've got another one booked in for February next year. They got a whole lot of young kids and bits and pieces, but it was really cool to see that up and running,
Yeah, that's great. I mean, outdoor rinks are a real opportunity, right, to grow the sport as well. And, we're struggling to have rinks here in Australia, and the guys in Queensland have lost a couple of rinks recently in Townsville and Stafford, and they're looking at all sorts of options, and here's another example of, if you had the land, what you could probably do with it, right? So it's I've always been really curious to this photo, because it looks like it's just ideal, just to get you playing, right?
Oh, mate, and it was just a great family atmosphere, and Barbie's going. You can see the few tents and the gazebos down there. My greatest memories of roller hockey has actually been in Darmstadt in Germany. So when I played for the North London side, we'd go to Germany every year for this big roller hockey tournament, and it was outdoors. Yeah. And we'd play in the bloody pouring rain, and we had tents. Tents, and it was wonderful, and it was pretty cool. We went every year. I never missed it. It was great. We never won it. I think we came second was our best, but
So where's Hamilton? London. Is it in the North Island or South Island? I don't know my
Hamilton's only an hour and a half out of Auckland.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, and there's no rink there. I remember the Dufties. Wayne, he's passed away, of course, and Bob, but the Dufties, they had Hamilton back in the day was a very, very strong club.
Yeah, right.
Johnny Bentley I think he put a face to my Facebook today for Johnny's listening, but he's always a character and a very good roller hockey player. He's living in Australia now. Is this at
the rink, the outdoor rink?
The same place?
This Hastings?
Yeah, I think that we won that, obviously. Well, not obviously, but that was second division I was playing, and they had a lovely glasses. That's what we'd pretend to have a drink out of the glasses. So that was.
Oh, right, okay. We thought there might have been a bit of a frothy in there.
Yeah. So that's my son next already. Yeah. We like to have a couple of drinks before we sang Aloita with Mr. Cook.
Oh, the old Aloita, that's right. So you guys are also renowned, for those who haven't been lucky enough to go to World Championships or games, but you have a tradition, I reckon, at every I'm going to say probably every competition that I've been at, where you guys have been at, to do the haka, right? It's not uncommon for you guys just either on the presentation night or whenever it is, or in the middle of the street, just crack on. So here's a photo, which I'm not exactly sure where it is.
That could be
Asian Games.
It's a shame that I'm hidden because my six-pack's there somewhere at the back.
Yeah.
It was at the Asian Games, I'm not sure. Yeah. But we do, there's a lot of criticism over the haka and what it means for, but we know quite a lot about it and study the history on the haka before we do it and learn it and actually train it, as opposed to just turning up and making a mockery of it. It's quite a sacred thing. But, Rohan leading that one there, of course, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's always been a highlight, actually, in the middle of presentation evening and stuff, and you guys get up there, it really just pumps the hell out of everyone. Like everyone just loves it. So, mate, I take my hat off. I feel very fortunate to be able to see multiple times you guys performing that, which is fantastic.
Did you guys do it at the Asian Games in the foyer?
I wasn't there at the Asian Games. No, I wasn't there. Yeah, I think the last time I was there was
South Korea, no?
Austria.
Okay.
That was a lovely place, Austria, man. That was wicked.
Oh, yeah. I came and visited the Australian team. I was living in Barcelona at the time and flew up to watch. But what a beautiful place that part of the world was.
Yeah, that was a cool rink, yeah.
Now, Russ, we'll also we're talking about the World Roller Games. You saw that photo with your son, which is fantastic. But were you guys, before you guys turned up for the competition, did you guys do a bit of a tour of China beforehand?
Yeah. So we went to we went to all the touristy bit, up the Great Wall and Tiananmen Square and a few other things, all the tea places and that, and then we caught a train up to, was it Nanjing? We stayed at Nanjing, was it? That's on the old
Nanjing. Yeah.
Here's the whole crew that's on the Great Wall.
Yeah, the Great Wall of China. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I've been pretty fortunate to do some cool things,
Yeah, I mean, what a trip,
Yeah, and it's my mum. My mum went with me. She was on the left there. Yeah, my mum. She just absolutely loved it.
Really?
One of my best ever trips that I remember the most was, and New Zealand hasn't done it forever. We had what we call it. We had a Colts tour. So
under 18s, under 17s, or something like that.
Yeah, under 21, whatever it was, and we had the most amazing. And Rowan he's put something on Facebook today, and he was our coach. He was the coach actually. This is sheepers. It's, I don't know what year it was. It must be 1987 or something like that. So a long time ago. But what a wonderful tour! A whole lot of young guys. We went over to England, paid right through England, then we went over to Switzerland and Germany and France. We toured. We played on trains and went down to South Sea for the tournaments. It was just, honestly, it was the best rollicky trip. All the world champs I've been to, that was the best ever trip ever, eh? It was so cool. Really. And you need to do that, yeah.
Now, you guys leading into the World Roller Games in China, obviously doing a bit of tourism, checking out a few sites, but obviously with the competition in mind, we can appreciate that you get a bit thirsty from time to time.
Absolutely.
So, leading up to the competition, I would imagine that it's, whilst we're here, guys, a couple of bevies.
We are athletes, of course.
Check out that dude in the background. I just noticed.
Claude, did Russ say that he did his shoulder? Like was it from anything in particular, you reckon?
No.
Maybe.
Was
it shoulder or elbow?
I'm not actually a big drinker, but I'll just have a shot of tequila as we speak. Wash that down with Heineken.
Right. What's your go-to tequila shot?
Oh,
what was that?
This one here.
Let's got another one to get.
I'm in the trouble now. I'm drinking tequila. In all fairness, though, I'm actually not a big drinker, to be honest with you. So, I didn't drink a lot when I was young either, and I don't drink a lot now. But when I drink now, it sort of affects me a lot more. I'm a good eater, though. Good eater.
Well, it looks like you're having dinner there with the boys. Bit too much or bit spicy.
I don't know where all these photos come from, but yeah, that was. It's pretty hot, eh? It's pretty spicy, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was eating something weird.
Yeah.
Was that a restaurant? Yeah, that
was a restaurant.
That was actually a pretty good trip, though, wasn't it? It was an amazing place, Nanjing. It was an amazing place.
I've never been to China, but I own a renovation company and run a renovation company. And my conservator, and he's been with me for 14 years. He's Chinese, so I heard a lot about China, and he's on the phone ni-haing and speaking of it, a lot of it, So to actually go over to China and get a bit of a feel for, what's like, is pretty cool. Yeah.
I know.
A bit of what? Ni-haing.
A bit of ni-haing.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
No, it was an interesting place.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, Rollocky. Every 2 years you get a world. Yeah, for me, from 17, basically every 2 years I get a trip around the world somewhere. And
it does take you around the world, doesn't it?
And the cool thing is, like, you catch up with you guys every few years, and the guys, just so many different people that you see, and we're all getting older. And but what's cool now is that our kids are doing it, and I was over in Europe. They just had the European Championships, for the young guys,
Yeah.
And one of my mates I played with in Letchworth over in England. Next minute, post comes up, and his son's playing for the English side, and I said to him, man, I feel really proud. That your boy's now playing, for England, and it made me feel really proud that my mate's kids are doing it. It was really cool,
Yeah.
So, good to see.
And it's you playing with your sons got to be an awesome. And I'm lucky enough that I've got two boys, and one's almost 17, and he plays hockey, and my other boy's 14, and he plays hockey. So they're playing seniors. So even at the local club level, I play with them, and that's a bit unique, So that's fantastic. And you look at the Cooks, Glenn Cook, he's got his two boys, Max and Jay, and he's got his daughter Emily. She plays in the goals as well. So the Cooks are right in there and a lot. So it's actually, although we're a small sport, we do get unique opportunities. And we've got to be grateful for those things because not everyone gets to do them.
I remember chatting to Max and Jay at Wanganui. They came over here a few years ago, and just. It was just cool to see those guys, and I said to Cookie, hey, look, mate, your guys absolutely represented Australia and themselves and your family so well when they're in Australia, New Zealand that time before, So top lads. It was good, and love to see them all back again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, mate. Well, I'm just going to share. This is probably the last photo I want to share, and it's this sort of. It's just a photo of the Trans-Tasman. I think this might have been 2015 in Melbourne. It's a bit hard to see all the details, but I really felt this is my sort of reflection back then was we'd had a Trans-Tasman in New Zealand, then we had one in Melbourne. This was the Melbourne one. And then from there, I really felt that both countries had really connected and united that enabled us to start to build something. And, we did something in 2016. And 17 and Gympie, and then we've travelled, we've done a lot of stuff. And although that we've had COVID and things have slowed down, I think that now moving forward to our earlier conversation is we've got to see each other as not as necessarily opponents, off the floor, but when we're off, on the floor, yes, but off the floor, we're actually one. If we can bring the 5 clubs and the 10 clubs of Australia together, then we've got 15 clubs. That's something. That's more than a lot of other countries out there, right? And, and we're only 2 or 3 hours away from each other. So we should really consider about how do we just continue to grow together, Yeah,
because then we have a voice,
Yeah.
No, definitely.
And that's a key thing, especially going to the World Games and all those sort of things. We need a voice together, which is cool. And you've been to those competitions before, those Australasians and Trans-Tasman. Have you seen the young kids and the girls and just how well they get on those? It's just huge.
Yeah, the friendships.
Look at you old buggers there. I've known you since I was like 16 years old. And,
and it's just some cool. Of us have aged well and some of us haven't,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But I think, ideally, obviously this last year you guys are going to come over here and we just have to hope and pray that next year we can get together somewhere in any shape or form. And it's not about having, any particular team. It's just getting some people here, and playing and accommodating you and having some fun and doing something different as well.
Yeah, exactly right, mate. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And go to the mighty All Blacks.
As always, mate.
Yeah. Well, Russell, mate, it's been a pleasure, mate. I think we've had you on long enough.
Yep.
We've got to go back. We've got to go back on plane. That's it.
I know. We've got to get back in the Roller Hockey Australia plane, fly back to Australia. But mate, it's
we've got a curfew at the moment. Believe it or not.
It's been great catching up, and we know that a lot of people will be watching this, and you got a lot of friends in Australia, mate. If not around the world, that will just be, it's just great to see your face. It's great to hear your voice, And of course, mate, have the stories. We've all got so many stories, so it's great to have a laugh. So thanks, mate, for coming on, and keep in contact, buddy.
Absolute pleasure, and thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and to everyone out there, just stay safe, and looking forward to catching up and seeing you all soon. It's going to be awesome.
Cheers.
Same to you, Russell.
Mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
All right,
See
bye
ya.
for now.
See you, mate. Jumping on the plane.
Oh, yeah, hang on, I'm going to jump back on the plane. Hang on.
Good value.
Back on the plane, heading back to Australia, mate.
I know.
Russell's a legend.
I know.
He really goes down as one of those guys that a hell of a lot of work in New Zealand, and it's awesome. Oh, we're back.
We're back. No, like you were saying, mate, bit hard to hear. Russell, good value, mate. It was good.
Yeah.
So it was really good for him to make himself available and have a bit of a chat with us and talk a bit of, let us know what's going on in New Zealand. And it's really good, mate. It's really good that he's actually, he's still involved and giving back, and he's sort of passionate about, mentoring and trying to help the ladies, try to rebuild at least what part of hockey, if we put him in 3 parts, for example, your juniors, your seniors, and your ladies.
Yep.
So it's good that someone's sort of taking charge with that.
Yeah, I feel that he has a mountain to climb, and he can climb that mountain. And he talks about where he's at. He's at the motivation stage. Get the motivation stage, then you can get into the training stage, and then you can get into the conditioning stage, and then you can get into the being competitive and playing stage. So he's at the motivation stage, right? Where he's probably on the phone going, can you please come to hockey? Right?
Yeah.
We need a goalkeeper. Would you mind just, please, there's something in this. Trust me, in 12 months from now, 6 months from now, that's really hard. That's where we were back in 2013, right? When we really started getting stuff going in Australia. It was like, guys, you've got to come. We're going to build something. There's going to be something there, But we've also experienced that every year in different scenarios. And that's just hard. We don't have the luxury of saying, well, if you don't want to come to training, you don't want to play for your country, we've got another 500 people over here that we'll pick from. We don't have that luxury. Right?
You wish if you did, yeah.
How many people have had to pick up, drop off, pay for, whatever it might have been, right, just to get people engaged and get motivated. And he's right there. So we wish him well, man. We really hope that the people around him in New Zealand can support him as well. And as soon as we can, by getting over there, I'm sure the roller hockey community will do that. So
yeah.
Good on you, Russ. Keep it up.
He needs support, yeah. So I mean, and like the other guys too, will need support as well. So someone can help. Get in contact with those guys, Get in contact with them and just say, what can I do? How can I help?
What does that mean for Australia? What does that mean? What are you thinking when you're hearing him talk about New Zealand ladies, juniors, seniors?
Just where are we at the moment?
Yeah,
that's what I sort of think. Trying to think, where are we at? I mean, I know where we've been, and what took, like you just touched on, where we've been and what took to get there.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of, where are we at now?
Yeah.
I mean, are we in a rebuilding stage? I don't think we're not. We shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be.
Mm.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Where do you think we're at?
Yeah, I think there's been a few attempts to get some stuff going, but I think we now need to focus hard to make it happen. Time is moving, time is ticking, and it's not necessarily just about being competitive. It's about also retention. We've got to retain people in the sport, so there needs to be a sense of purpose. And we've got to put that purpose up there, and we need to aspire to that purpose. The Olympians, the thing that I keep going, the Olympians train for something every 4 years. For us to think that we may not play for 1 year or 2 years from now, and we've got nothing to train for, I think it's very short-sighted. If an Olympian can go, well, in 4 years I'm going to compete in something, then we should be able to accept that in 2 years we're going to compete in something. So therefore,
let's start now. Yeah, exactly.
Let's prepare, right? And I'd like to see more of that happening.
And that's what I mean to you. That's what I'm saying to you. I mean, I don't know where we're at.
Yeah.
We can't make it look into like, oh yeah, we're going to have to rebuild and we're going to have to start again because, I mean, we know what it took. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And and that's just something that is just not worth, leaving it all behind. What do we do
we
now?
Still have the foundations to do some good stuff. We can still move forward. I mean, I'm optimistic. Like I said, I'm a bit of a half glass full sort of guy, so I'm optimistic that we can mobilise pretty quickly. But it's time. It's time we start moving. So let's hope those that make the decisions and the powers that be can actually do some stuff, and we can actually start to see that. And of course, we'll support whatever decisions go their way, and make that sort of happen. Yeah.
But yeah, overall, really enjoy the chat with Russell. I wasn't aware that he had dual citizenship.
Played for England.
Mm.
I didn't even play a bit of time playing in Europe, which is good. In England for 3 or 4 years, and then in Italy and stuff. So yeah, he's got a lot of history there. As we do a lot of plays in Australia. That's what we're going to do. We're going to, who are some of those people, that spend a bit of time. Who do you speak about? You spoke about Peter Loopy, Simo, Bones, Shifty, all those guys as well, right? So there's some stories there to uncover as well, which we'll do.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well,
yes.
Mate, good catch up. Let's reflect on today's conversation. You and I will chat. And for those listening, have you got any comments or any questions before we tune out?
Was anyone watching?
I don't know. Did we get like any more than 5 people on there? Who have we got on there? Claude, anything?
Not from a while.
All right.
Al, I think was on.
Oh, Carlin's there. Eric Brooks.
Kelly was on.
KB. Oh, I'd love to get KB. Hear what he's thinking, what he's been up to. That'd be good.
Yes. Kelly Belcher.
And I'll just check the messages here to see if there's anything's come through. My phone was going a bit crazy during.
Rabbit was on. Tom Sawicki was on. Gary, Big Gazza.
Big Gaz,
the guy that I carried through my whole Victorian junior career.
Oh, did you? The big G train?
Yeah, I had to carry him.
Did you?
Nah, it's just like an inside joke. He knows what I mean. He knows what I mean. He knows that I had to carry him, and I carried him.
Yeah.
Made him look good. All right, mate.
Okay, mate. Let's catch up another time, another place, another Bat channel. Thanks for those who are watching, guys. We really appreciate the comments coming through too. Some funny comments from here and there and everywhere. Some of them are appropriate, some are a bit inappropriate, but we like them all. And mate, hope you enjoyed catching up with Russ.
Yeah.
All right.
Once again, thanks, Russ.
All right,
See
guys.
you, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
See ya.